All right. Hello, everyone. I hope y'all are doing good. This is my presentation on the overview of the current state of first generation support services in colleges and universities across the U.S. I chose this because we definitely have seen an increase in first generation college students, just like myself and a few others. I'm sure there's some of y'all who are first gen as well. I wanted to do this because not every college or university has support services for first generation college students. And so during this research, I definitely found a lot of interesting things how we can incorporate cultural tourism in our universities and colleges and how we can bring first generation success centers. That way we can have more successful first generation college students so they can be successful. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my presentation. So uh, the current status of the selected programs. So right here we have colleges and universities across the U.S. have begun to recognize the unique challenges faced by first generation college students and the need for targeted support services to help these students succeed. So we're definitely seeing like I mentioned, an increase in first generation college students, but we have a mixture. We just have not the traditional first generation college students, but we have non traditional students, transfer students who are also um, identify as first generation. And so we're definitely seeing a lot of challenges faced with this. As a result, many institutions have established first generation support programs that offer a range of resources and support services to these students. However, not every single institution has these support services centers or even just resources in general. So I thought it was interesting to find that because we're definitely seeing an increase in this. And so we definitely need to help our first generation college students. Um, these programs include, they have academic tutoring, financial aid is a big one. I myself am a first generation college student. I didn't know anything about financial aid and things like that. So they definitely have programs for that. Um, mentorship opportunities and community building events. That's something that's we're kind of lacking as well. We are not seeing very many mentorship opportunities with first generation college students. Here at UNT, I definitely see it, but not as much as I would like to see it. Community building events, like I mentioned, they have these opportunities. However, they're not every so often. They have them every now and then from what I saw in my research. So, definitely making sure that we increase this so that way we can make sure that our first generation college students are successful and then, provide them with any resources that they need, whether that's at the university or outside of the university. They provide access to identity-based students organizations and cultural programs. So, for instance, I know UNT has the Multicultural Center. That's where a lot of first-generation college students go because they want to find people that they can relate to, they can talk to, they can find their place here at the university. Even student organizations here. For instance, I myself was a part of a multicultural fraternity, Latin-based fraternity. That's where I found my place. Also, some first gen student group that I am a co-founder of. We definitely have seen that as well. However, some of these student orgs don't really exist on campus. Some of these multicultural centers don't really exist on campus. And so definitely increasing that will actually benefit the students who are first generation college students because they can relate to other first gens, also get advice from them and things like that. So that is the current status of the selected program. So, some challenges and limitations of existing programs. So, one of the biggest challenges is the lack of funding and resources for these programs. So, you know, it's very hard, especially when there's no funding for, a lot of first gen resources. However, some of them you can get for free. For instance, tutoring, academic counseling, mentorship, that's all free. However, if they're wanting to have a huge event for first generation college students where they want to bring in, an outside speaker or have an event with an outside business, regarding first gen, that takes funding. Sometimes, departments don't have that. Also, when it came to the first gen success centers, not a lot of colleges and universities have the funding for that, as well as the multicultural center or anything in it that's related to first gen where students would need services or resources and things like that. So that's definitely one of the biggest challenges that I found in my research. Another challenge that I saw was a lack of coordination and communication between different support programs within the institutions. So, for instance, if one department, let's say the First Gen Success Center here at UNT, wants to collaborate with another department or, another service with a different department, so we can provide support. Sometimes communication is not very well. They don't, respond in a timely manner. Sometimes they're not wanting to do it because it's, too much time and this and that. And so, not everybody wants to pull in their weight. So that's definitely another challenge. Also, another challenge is the lack of data and evaluation of these programs. So, when you don't have the data and you don't have the evaluation of these programs to make it better, that kind of makes it hard because you don't know what you did right, you don't know what you did wrong, what could have went better, what went well, what didn't work, what worked, and things like that. And so that's definitely one of the challenges that this is facing for these things like that. So understanding cultural pluralism and its significance in higher education. So, cultural pluralism refers to the recognition and appreciation of diverse cultures, identities, and beliefs within a society. Especially first generation college students, they often come from underrepresented communities and may have different cultural values and perspectives that can impact their academic success. We all come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different backgrounds, different lifestyles and things like that. Just because we're all first generation college students doesn't mean that we all believe in the same thing. I come from San Antonio, Texas, in a low community, low income, community, was very small. I didn't have a lot of support growing up. And so that is definitely things that we're facing as well. But, understanding the cultural pluralism, we need to understand that not every first generation college student is going to be the same. So, uh, whoops. So, some strategies for incorporating cultural pluralism in first generation success centers. So, the first step is we need to increase the number of people from different backgrounds working in administrative positions. So, we need to have someone who is Latinx in a director position. We need to have someone who is, from a Asia Pacific Islander, an assistant director position. I'm just kind of throwing things out there. So, we need to have people from different cultures, different backgrounds in these different positions because that's what makes it more interesting and that's what makes it more helpful because you can bring in different experiences and things like that, and we can help the students. The second step is to include activities and lessons that promote cultural awareness into the program's overall structure. So, for instance, we have our Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month, we have our Asian Pacific Islander Month, things like that that I know the Multicultural Center does. And so making sure that we incorporate every culture and background just to make sure that we're raising that cultural awareness and we're letting students know that, hey, you're not alone. These are some other people in your same culture and your same background. So that way they can reach out to them and be successful and things like that. Thirdly, collaborations with cultural and identity-based student organizations. First generation success centers may also improve the ability to handle cultural pluralism by working together with student groups that are centered on cultural and identity. So, For instance, the First Generation Success Center here at UNT definitely partners a lot with the First Generation Student Organization because they're familiar with it, they know it very well. But I think if you're collaborating more with different student organizations with different backgrounds, different cultures, not just Latinx, but, in the Black community, the Asian community, different things like that. So definitely making sure that we're collaborating with culture and identity-based student organizations. That way students can reach out to them for any resources or anything that they may need. And last but not least, measuring and evaluating progress of the plan. So how can we measure and evaluate the progress on this? Well, we can it'll increase in retention rates, graduation rates, student engagement, also feedback from the students. It's always important to have that feedback from the students. What is it that we're missing? How can we help you? Are we doing a good job? What are you lacking? Are you needing any more resources? What do you need to be successful? What is working? What is not working? What would you like to see? Things like that. Making sure that we have them. Also have periodical evaluations for the purpose of measuring the amount of progress made towards KPIs and the metrics identified. Key KPIs are key performance indicators. So basically, what is the progress like here, with the resources? Are they good? Are they bad? Do we need to improve and things like that? And also, it should evaluate the efficiency of the particular techniques that were put into place to foster cultural pluralism within the program. So making sure that we have cultural pluralism with every single program that is available to them with the first generation success centers and things like that. And these are my references. And so that is the end of my presentation.